Okay, that's good. You know the problem is when I first time to try to turn on, right? I can't turn on. I have to, if like I plug in,
And it turns on.
yeah, it can turn on for the first time.
Just getting old.
Think so?
How long have you been using that?
I don't know. I mean, for me, only a year. But I don't know for school, because like I bought from like a bookstore, pretty cheap, 120.
That's probably just getting old.
Maybe the problem. But it's otherwise, I mean, other stuff is functioning really well. Pretty good to use. So, you know, easy. Second time, can start. First time, no. Okay. Anyway, I check it today. I mean, the reading stuff, not whole a lot. Most of them like pictures. There has 4 pages.
And then reading the PowerPoint that comes with it.
It's just like description.
Yeah, I know.
It's not super hard.
Yeah. So I think.
Do you want the first question?
What was the first question?
As you look at the pictures of Victorian fashion, what sorts of inferences can you draw about the society?
What do you guys think? Tell me.
Well, if you look at like all the dresses, they started covering up like
Really high?
the neck and where you could see the chest breast area before with like the other dresses, they've started getting even more like covering it up.
You mean they just like cover everything, right? Not what you mean? There's
They're
clothes
getting more
everywhere.
so, but you can still see like examples of where they're not.
But it's not like cover everything, you know? what I
No,
mean? It's
but,
still like quite
but that's
low.
like evening clothes.
Oh.
Yeah, there are day dresses and evening clothes.
Let's see.
But like you see this, you see how they're dressed to like work.
Yeah, so.
I think that's them more like doing pretend and like romanticizing
What-
the idea of work.
Hold on, what do you mean? What do you mean by pretend? Pretend or pretend?
They're not
Pretend.
really working. They're doing it because it's like fun to pretend to be something else.
Oh, I see.
Because they're still dressed really well to be out there
Right.
collecting. hay.
That was my question. I was wondering why they're wearing like that when they're
Like
working.
who goes with a beautiful dress and do laundry and
Do laundry.
Put your pearls on or like do chores around the house. But like that just shows you that because they're in the city and like this middle class is starting to develop, people are like idolizing what it's like to be a farmer. Like it's fun to be a farmer, it's romantic.
Okay. But like I saw from the reading that it talk about like the middle class still getting more rich.
Right.
They try to copy how the higher class
Right.
how they wear the stuff, right? So you mean they're just like try to pretend being that way, but yeah, definitely like
Well,
because
it's
they
like-
become
People get like romantic about living a simple life. Like you'll be happier when you live a simple life and stuff. And so I think part of why they're out there pretending to be farmers is because they have like this idea that, oh, being a farmer is a beautiful thing because it's a simple life. You just are farming. You don't have a lot of cares. And so that's
Yes.
why people go out and start doing stuff like that.
Okay. But it wasn't like that because farming, you got a lot of stuff to do, right?
There's still a lot of stuff to do, but I still think if there wasn't some truth to it, people wouldn't believe it.
I mean,
Like there's still some truth there that yeah, there's something kind of nice about just working like for a living and just being with your family on a farm. Like there's still ideas that are romantic about it and that I think are real, but they're ignoring like the hard part because they're wearing their nice clothes, like you saw that in the picture.
yeah. I see. But you see the first one? I think the first one wasn't like a nice clothes, right? You see that? But it wasn't like cover everything until you're
No,
like,
but I think this one was earlier in the Victorian era too. because like these different eras, when you transition, it's not like one morning you wake up and you're like, okay, now it's the Victorian era. So
Oh, you
everything's-
mean little by little, like they're influenced
things
by
happen
those
over
parts.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's not like a big. Everything's different today.
I see. I see.
How
That's
long,
pretty
I wonder how long was the Victorian era?
It's like 1830s to 1901 when Queen Victoria died.
about 70 years, something like that.
63 or 4, something like that. So that's how long she was queen.
So Victoria is the queen. She's the first queen?
She's not the first queen. She's the first since Queen Anne.
King.
Queen Anne.
Queen Anne. What's the Queen Anne mean?
She was a queen of England. She's not the first. Victoria was not the first queen of England,
She's not the first queen of England.
but she's the first in a long time
Oh.
when she became queen.
So that means at least she's like a, how do you say that in English? Holding the power for 30s.
Like
60s.
symbolically, yeah, she holds a lot of power. Like,
During that time, right?
yeah, it's not like an emperor of China though, who whatever he says you have to do. She doesn't hold that much power because they still have elections and stuff, and there's churches. Like the power's more divided up in England.
But like,
She's the symbolic ruler of the country.
oh, I see. But it means she still can decide something. I mean,
A few things, but not as much as they used to be able to.
but like, when you talk about like she still got a lot of powers, what do you mean by that? I mean,
People respect her opinion. Like,
Okay.
you got to think when she's like in the early 1900s, she's been queen for 60 plus years. She meets with the prime minister, the leader of the government, like the president, and he asks for her advice. He tells her what's going on in the country. She's got a lot of experience because
But-
she's been around for a long time.
But the thing is, like, it sounds like what you said, which like she cannot decide to say, oh, we're gonna fight with
She
that.
can't, not like that extreme. There's a lot of other stuff happening. Like, she can make some
It's
decisions.
more like when you say she
It's
holding on-
limited. She doesn't
limited,
hold
okay.
all the power. She
I
has
see.
some power.
It's more like what you said, which is like she got really big influence, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I mean the king. I mean,
There is no king.
how do you say the queen right now? In
The king now,
the king.
King Charles.
So same thing.
He holds less power than Queen Victoria did, but like on paper, he still has a lot of power. Like he's in charge of the army and the military. People do things in the name of the king.
But the thing is, like, he's not a.
He doesn't actually do anything with it. It's all symbolic pretty much now.
What I want to say, which is like he. It sounds like he does involve in the political stuff,
No.
but not whole. No,
No, he's not. He's
all the
supposed
political
to say-
stuff is like
Yes.
still decided for the by the government.
Yes. If he wanted to, he could, but he doesn't. Because
Okay.
if he did, he wouldn't be king anymore, because they don't want someone telling him what to do in 2024.
It pretty much means like he's a little bit like the emperor in Japan, but like he has
Yes.
more influence than the emperor.
Yes.
Okay. I see. Umbrella.
Sorry, what was the first question again?
How does, what inferences can you make about Victorian fashion based on like these pictures? So like, I don't know, we talked about the farming picture, but if you look at like the picture of men, like these ones, you can see even like where the zipper is,
Mhm.
that's changed, because before it had like the
It
four
was, yeah.
buttons, so like the pants are getting more modern. But also men have like facial hair now, where that hasn't been a thing for a long,
Earlier.
long time.
And also you can see for the how do you call that? Call that bag? What do you call this part?
The what?
This part, you see that? See this lady?
The waist.
The waist. And this one, I think this is the second and third picture. You can see that the waist, it's really tight. They want to make it just looks pretty nice, you know what I mean? Yeah, skinny. Which is good, but yeah. But when you turn to the fourth one, you see that? Oh, they're still like that. But like, I feel like the fifth one is even like, you know what I mean?
Well, because like the fashion became emphasized the hourglass figure.
I feel the way I see it, I feel like those fashion in those days helped them stabilize their waist, or you know, it makes them take care of their waist size and stuff.
It's just making you look good, right? I think they put some stuff over there in the lecture they talk about.
They show it. They show a picture of it.
What?
It's
Oh, where?
They were like
See how they're tying it like that?
yeah.
Oh, you mean they got something inside?
They
I
first
also wear
they
something
have, yeah.
outside?
So they get like, it's called a corset, and you put it around your waist and you tie it really tight, and it makes you skinnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like after that, you put the clothes on, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Some,
like inside.
well, some
Inside the clothes.
there are they wear it inside, but then also they can there are some that are designed to wear outside
I mean,
of the dress.
you mean on the dress, right? Like you
Yeah.
can make
Yeah.
it like that. I see. That's good. That's awesome. But it looks like a little bit Chinese culture. You know, like the Chinese old lady. Yeah, your feet. It's like the Chinese people believe. I mean, not Chinese people believe. Only Tibetans do. You know, there's
People back then,
Yeah, back then.
because it makes women prettier.
Yeah, they feel like when the ladies have a really small feet,
Oh,
they
that's
make you
beauty.
more beauty, you know. So that's why since
Oh.
they were young, I think start like 6, they start, you know, just like
Just
usual.
small.
Yeah, so making it really small.
Do they still do that?
I don't know.
I also
I
see
had
some.
I had a leader who was half Chinese, and his mom was from China, and she still had small feet because of that.
Oh yeah. Wait, your TJ sounds like pretty old.
60s.
No, he's mom. Yeah, that makes sense.
I also see one kind of people, they have the long necks.
Oh yeah.
They wear like several rings to
To
keep
make
make
it
it
longer.
longer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a what culture?
I think it's
They-
African tribes that
Yeah,
do it.
African tribes. I see they're also kind of like Asia.
Asian.
Yeah, I'm not
Maybe.
sure. I'm not sure which part.
I see.
But it's kind of like the same idea of like, because where's the picture? It shows like her insides are getting squished together. It's like these trends that they're starting to do is like shaping their physical body too eventually.
But the thing is, like, does it get to hurt your physical health?
Yeah, it's not great for you.
See, back then in time, ladies sacrificed a lot. Should have forgotten born these days. I'm just kidding.
Men did too. You grow up on a farm and die of some disease in the middle
Oh
of
yeah.
nowhere.
Wait, there sounds like even like in 1900, right? Since 1900 start, people still not like, I mean, at least in China, people not living in really, old age, you know what I mean? Like in 18th centuries, like 1870, something like, people do like 30, 40, they just die. You know what I mean? It's like a pretty normal stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do
What?
with childbirth.
Just like you won't live a really long age because you will kill the disease.
Not so much as that. It's because by the time you're getting into like the 1870s and 1880s, people are starting to know about germs. It's because having a child was so dangerous. So a lot of women were dying. Like giving
How
birth.
come?
Because you get infection if there was a problem with like the baby coming out. There's not a doctor really to help you solve the problem.
Wait, you mean like before that time, the ladies
That's-
still gave a birth in your home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bet even up until like the 40s and 50s, my grandparents were all born at home. I'll bet that's the
Yeah.
same in China,
1940s?
probably. outside of the cities.
I mean, no. I mean, in China it's different. Like in China, we have this kind. It's a special lady. She's doing this kind of
And she
stuff.
comes to your house.
Yeah, she comes to your
That's
house.
the
It's
same.
it's the same.
Oh,
It's
so-
the same.
but like she's not doctor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she's
just
not.
like tell you, hey,
Yeah.
harder,
She's just
harder, like
good
that.
at that. And,
That's
yeah.
called a midwife.
midwife. Yeah.
midwife,
Midwife.
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 So yeah, you're born at home. That's how you used to
Yeah.
be.
So, cause like I know during that time, like when you give a birth, like you might be just like bleeding too much when then you die.
See,
Yeah.
because back then you only went to the hospital if you were gonna die. That's why. That's part of it. And it was also dirtier.
Yeah, because you know, yeah, you're right.
There's more diseases at the hospital, so it's better to do it at home.
Wait, there's more disease in the hospital during
Because
that?
people are going there because they're dying.
Uh-huh.
So if you're gonna go there to give birth, you're gonna be around those people who are dying.
But in these days, they can cover.
Well, it's separated. You know about germs, and you know how to change clothes. And
I see.
Yeah, obviously, because the only reason is because you're dying.
Mm,
And,
That's good. I learned a lot. I like this class. You know?
but like, I think mustaches actually came back into fashion. I was reading one thing because they were fighting wars in Russia, England was, and men were cutting themselves by shaving, and it was getting them infected, and they were getting sick from that. So instead, they just let their beards grow.
So you mean the beards can cover the something?
So then you're not
that is-
cutting your, because you know how razors, it used to be just a single knife.
At least they like keep it clean and stuff. They just don't.
So, well, then they'd let it grow.
Just
because-
not to get
so you don't
cut.
get cut and
Yeah.
infect yourself and die of infection
But
Interesting.
infection. Oh.
during war.
Oh, I see.
So like I think a bunch of men came back after the Crimean War, which is Turkey, France, England, and Russia, and they all had these big beards. And so it became like the fashion to grow a beard. Because you see like the pictures of Joseph Smith, he never has a beard.
Yeah.
But then right after him, all the prophets have beards. So it's like that same time period.
Oh, I see. They're not using it like for cover anything. They just like make sure.
That's
that the
one
knife
reason I
doesn't
read
go.
about it. There's probably more,
Okay.
but that was like one of the reasons I read why people stopped shaving and beards became
Because they don't want got caught,
and infect themselves.
even as your own stuff.
Well, because you got to think you're in the army, you're surrounded by people all the time.
Everybody use it, right?
People are injured. Also, maybe because it's in Russia, it's colder, so they're growing more beards.
Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question.
What's the next?
What
one?
sort of meaning can we attach to the changes in women's sense of what shape their bodies should have, or the fact that hairstyles were simplified?
What is the question?
Like, what's the significance behind women? The emphasis, like the change in what your body should look like. Because there's that other time, was it with the other pictures where like being a little fatter,
Mhm.
like showed that you were wealthy? But-
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
that's changing again too, is like that hourglass figure becomes important and all, but at the same time your hair is getting more simplified.
Right.
It would, I mean, there has like a pictures there for us. Which pictures?
It's just talking about like, because hair is simpler now.
Yeah,
Why do you think that is? What might be some reasons?
I think most is because like life speed is getting faster and it's more convenient, like with
Oh,
the
maybe.
really simple stuff. And also during these days, I don't know, because I feel like all the girls that I see around is college girls. You know what I mean? I should go to the society, the community, see the mature ladies and tell you why they change. But like a majority of the people, I feel they change it because time change it. You know, it's just different time. make
But
people-
why is time changing? Well, why do you think back then? That's what the question is. Why do you think back then people became more focused on having simpler hair and a skinnier waist?
You call that fashion?
For me, I think there were less things too that's important during, I don't know, other than women's caring for their body, obviously.
Mm.
So
Well, that's a good point.
when there's nothing to
Yeah.
care about, you take care of yourself. Because I feel like that was the most important thing to them at that time.
Right, because last time we talked about like how women were alone at home,
Mhm.
so kind of that idea. Well, that could be it.
I see. Good point.
Well, that was actually.
Good. But I mean,
Why did men become simpler in their dress?
I think it would be too much for both. If both dress up, I don't know.
I think that's one of the things people start to realize that. I mean, we're more simple. Just make things more easy. Just like what we talked about, the long socks is made for men in the beginning, and then later on the ladies start put on, and men's never doing it anymore, right? So I don't know. Just make things more convenient. I think that's the only way I can think. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, I guess as people, like men, are going more to factories and stuff. And like,
You mean
Right.
working environment, making them
Well,
to be
it's-
more simple, convenient for
yeah,
their
for
folks?
convenience sake.
I see.
And there's less of a class distinction, so there's less of an incentive to dress fancy.
Mm.
Right.
I
But like,
see.
like people are still focused on wearing hats. That's still a big part of it.
For men?
Mhm. Like you don't go anywhere without your hat.
Why?
And it's just like fashion and protection from the sun.
That's not just for England. I think there has a
That was-
period of time
well, that's
over
kind of-
here. People also like
Because it
that.
kind of comes over. Well, my great grandpa, he was born in the 1890s, so the end of the Victorian era. Even in the 1980s, he didn't go anywhere without a hat.
Wait. How old was he when he passed away?
Died in the early, he's like 90 something, 96. But he took a hat everywhere.
You know what that means? 1890s to 1980s. It's almost 100 years. That's really old age. You know what I mean? That's which is really nice.
Maybe you're his reincarnation, grandpa.
I see.
Traditional Chinese culture.
But you said like he still keep this like.
Yeah, because that's the way he was brought up. It's like you take your hat with you wherever you go. And I know my other great grandpa, all of them, they never went anywhere without a hat.
It's just like I feel like most people can't walk around the sun without sunglasses.
Oh, I mean that's different because some people's
Do
eyes.
you think they had sunglasses before?
They did, but they weren't as good. But
Wait, hold on. You're talking about now, or you're talking about?
I'm just comparing.
Oh.
now, like what's something else that people kind of take everywhere?
I see. Because like I felt like someone were. I mean, I'm not talking about all the people. I'm talking about some of the people. They got a problem with their eye. They cannot.
Right.
Look at the sun, so they need sunglasses.
I think though,
Yeah.
like even now, if you wore a hat like they were wearing, you'd probably look more like a man. And so maybe that's part of it, like
It's,
being
yeah,
a man.
It's kind of like differentiate you.
Yeah, from being a
Make you
boy.
stand out as a man.
Nice.
And like a hat, maybe that's something you can personalize a little bit more, like do a different style that people notice.
Right?
Good point. Agree. Thumb up.
How do these things relate to such issues as relationships between men and women, or the fact that the middle class has become clearly the class of power in England? Well, people aren't dressing up as fancy anymore, like we said, because there's not as much of a class distinction anymore. And like movement between middle class, as it grows, I think is becoming more fluid, so everyone's just kind of dressing middle class.
Right.
The only difference like upper class people have is the material's nicer, fashion's not necessarily super different.
You're talking about why is there so much less?
Like, yeah, why is it
Repetitions
more
from men?
similar to each other?
Which question are you talking
The last one. How do these things relate to such issues?
Yeah, it's just like that. You want a really good example for Chinese people like this situation, but different. Back then China is really poor, right? But from 2000 to 2010, this 10 years, you will see who is rich. If the guy is big, really big, okay, have a big stomach, because they're eating a lot, that's like means like a
He's got money.
yeah, he got money, he's rich. But like people always change because like you know that when you're eating a lot, it wasn't good for your health. You cause a lot of problems like high blood pressure and you know stroke, this kind of stuff. From 2010 to 2020, these 10 years, the most rich people they have really good size because they know that you know you have to have good like health in order for you to continue your
Right.
life, have a better life. So it's just easy, but like crazy thing, the poor people, I mean on the bottom class, people start eating a lot. You don't know why. Just like yeah, everybody getting more rich
It's
than
kind of
before.
the same, but I'd say it's even more different in England because instead of people trying to be like the rich people are trying to be like the middle class people.
How come? It kind of.
Because, okay, well, you're talking China, where like communism, so you're not born into like the noble class. There's not kings and queens and lords. In England, they still have that idea of being a lord, but they're not making any money anymore. Who has all the money? It's the businessmen and the middle class. So to look like you're still important and you still have power and you have money, you try and dress like the business people.
Oh, I see. I got what you mean. But the thing is, like you said, the middle class try to dress like the higher class.
Like, it's nicer materials, but like,
Still same style like the middle class, right?
because before where wealth was all based on land, because everyone was a farmer, if you owned all the land, and you were super rich, but when it becomes about like banking and trading and making clothes and factories, people are leaving the farmland, so farmland's not as valuable as it used to be. So the middle class gets bigger, and they're the ones who have all the money. So if you want to look like you have money and you're in the upper class, you're not going to dress with wigs and stuff anymore because you're just look old-fashioned. So you show that you have money by looking like you're in the middle class, because the middle class has the money.
I see. But the thing is like, everybody knows that if you're doing business, you're getting rich, right? Then
But
why?
not back then, because it's new.
Back then that was new.
Because the Industrial Revolution just happened.
But the thing is like a business should be always exist over
Yeah, but
the
business before was you own land, and if you have land, you have power. That's how it always was in China before. Like the peasants were on the land, but who owned the land? The landowners, and who were the rich people.
I mean, yeah,
That's
but
the same idea. But
kinda.
But then because the Industrial Revolution happened, and you get like engines, and you can build factories, which didn't happen in China, but it happened in England. And so all these people who had a little bit of money were able to make a ton of money, and land wasn't as valuable anymore because you could get food from other places.
The thing is like that, I mean, Chinese government always know that business are really important. So for majority of the dynasties, they don't support the businessmen. You know what I mean? Because they don't want them to grow really fast. Except one.
That's the opposite during the Victorian times. Business
Oh.
people were getting super rich.
I see. I see. Okay.
And that's why like the British Empire is the most powerful empire because it's all about money and trading.
So British Empire is different from England.
So England's a country
Oh,
in the United Kingdom. So the United Kingdom.
British is not part of the United Kingdom.
It is. So like the island of Great Britain, that's Scotland, Wales, and England. That's one whole island. And then they came together and formed a country called the United Kingdom.
I see. So good. Learn a lot. Awesome. Done?
30 minutes.